Hari
Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Today we're looking at Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 10, Deliverance of the Yamalarjun Trees. Text number 8. Shri Narada Uvacha Nayanyo Jisato Jushyan Buddhi Brangsho Rajo Gunaha Srimadad Abhijad Yadir Yatristri Jutam Asabaha. Shri Narada Uvacha Nayanyo Jusato Joshyan Buddhi Brangsho Rajo Gunaha Shri Madhad Abhijat Yatir Yatristri Jutam Asavaha. One person. Vacha Buddhi Brangsho Rajo Gunaha Sri Jutam Vaishnavis und Shri Narada Uvacha Yanyo Jishato Joshan Buddhi Brangsho Rajo Gunaha Madhad Abhijata Dhir Yatra Stri Jutam Asavaha. One of the guys. Shri Narada Uvacha Yo Yishato Yajoshan Yibrangsha Rajunaha Shri Madhad Abhijata Dhir Yatra Stri Jutam Asavaha. Mataji's. Shri Narada Uvacha Yanyo Jishato Joshan Buddhi Brangsho Rajogunaha Srimadad Abhijat Yadhir Yatra Stri Jusham Asavaha. Shri Narada Uvacha. Narada Muni said, no, there is not he, indeed, anyaha, another material enjoyment, jushataha, of one who is enjoying, joshan, things very attractive in the material world, different varieties of eating, sleeping, mating, and defense. buddhi brangshya. Such enjoyments attract the intelligence. Rajagunaha, being controlled by the motive passion. Shrimadat, then riches. Abhijatya adnihi, among the four material principles. Attractive personal bodily features. Birth in an aristocratic family. Being very learned and being very rich. Yatra, wherein. Stri, women. Jutam, gambling. Asavaha, wine. Wine, women, and gambling are very prominent. And here's the translation. Narada Muni said, among all the attractions of material enjoyment, the attraction of riches bewilders one's intelligence more than having beautiful bodily features, taking birth in an aristocratic family, and being learned. When one is uneducated but falsely puffed up by wealth, the result is that one engages his wealth in enjoying wine, women, and gambling. Jai, Hare Krishna. Shall we do it step by step, or is it okay? As I like. I like what you like. Okay. Let's go on with the purport. Among the, please don't look. Hide it. Among the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, people are certainly conducted by the lower qualities, namely passion and ignorance, and especially by passion. Conducted by the mode of passion, one becomes more and more involved in material existence. Therefore, human life is meant for subduing the modes of passion and ignorance and advancing in the mode of goodness. Tada rajastamo bhava kama lobadhyaschaye chit itair enavidhang stitam sattve prasiditi. That is from the first canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 2, text 19. This is culture. One must subdue the modes of passion and ignorance. In the mode of passion, when one is falsely proud of proud of wealth, one engages his wealth only for three things, namely wine, women, and gambling. We can actually see, especially in this age, that those who have unnecessary riches simply try to enjoy these three things. In Western civilization, these three things are very prominent because of an unnecessary increase of wealth. Narada Muni considered all this in the case of Manigriva and Nalakuvara because he found in them so much pride in the wealth of their father, Kuvera. Hare Krishna. That's it. Nama Om Vishwabarai Krishna Vishai Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Puricharine Eva Shri Sunyavadi Paschachari Safarine. That's it. Hare Krishna. All right. We're hearing more about the nasty nature of the two rich sons of Kuvera, who had messed up big time with Narada Muni, made a mistake. Narada Muni is making some points here, though, that we are entangled in material trappings, attractions, along the lines of physical beauty, wealth. Somebody is very intelligent, for instance, and if you come from a good family like that, these are attractive features. Those who were around during uh, Princess Diana's time, she was a very good-hearted person, and she got somebody. She was the most photographed woman at the time, and people loved her. They really liked her, and you know, of course, the beauty was there, the riches were there, high parentage, uh, everything you could imagine. She was intelligent. So all these things contribute to the insincerity. Janmaishwarya Shruti Shribir Edamana Vadapan Puman Nayavareti Alvidatam Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. That's a verse from the Bhagavatam. And it's saying that people who have one of these assets, or all four of them, they have a problem. And what is that problem? To be sincere. It's very hard. Sincerity means to be genuine. It means to be real, nothing superficial. You know? And that's hard to find out. So here, particularly, we're talking about rich men. And probably they were also a good-looking couple of guys. And just sense gratification was all around them. And so that became a disqualification for spirituality. You know? Let's say if a person is kind of homely looking, that could be to the individual's advantage. On the other hand, if you're super attractive, then people gawk at you and they take advantage of you and said, hey, why don't we blah, 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 you know? And so there's, along with the good looks or any of these other assets, it becomes a problem. You attract trouble, it's a fact. Somebody mentioned that yesterday, it's Buddhimanta's son is the first one. Yeah, the older one said, "Oh, he looks like Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo," and so maybe he gets mistaken for that all the time. So this does become an issue, and so we should be happy to have Krishna in our life. Anything else that might be there could really stand in the way of our spiritual progress. And spiritual progress is real progress. When I first met the devotees, they were saying, "Oh, we can't wait till we get advanced." First of all, they showed me a picture of Prabhupada, and he was already in his 70s, and he has a big smile like this, big earlobes, nose somewhat flat, a little bit like a boxer's nose, and hair sort of coming out, and they were saying, we can't wait till we get to be his age. And I had to question that. And I said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Who wants to be old? And then they explained, well, when you get to that age, you'll be very advanced. So when they use the word advanced, like to get an advance, money, I mean, devotees use English language in a unique way. Just like say, oh, he's engaged. Oh, you're living in the temple with the brahmacharis. Oh, he's engaged. So-and-so Das Brahmachari, he's engaged. What? He's engaged? Well, I mean, what? He's engaged. So old English, says like, what? And for some people, engagement, like, hooked up with somebody, right? So the language is interesting. So to be advanced, what do you mean advanced? So they explain that. That means developed, spiritually evolved, like that. That's the way they explained it. So, okay, I got it now. I understand now. So, we might look at these two boys, playboys, you can say that. What happened to them eventually? They got Krishna's mercy. Narada Muni cursed them, and Krishna pulled them out of the curse. Yeah. Uh, uh, what was the curse? To be standing as trees. Yeah. In our Montreal temple, behind the temple, there was a tree that looked like a Mataji, you know, wearing the elements for clothes, you know. And it was pointed out to me by one of the ladies. Oh, Maharaj, look at that. Look at here. This tree must have been somebody who wanted to be in Exposure magazine or something like that. Then the next time I came, I thought I'd look. I was on a Japa walk. I said, "Oh, I wonder if that lady's still there," and she got cursed or something like that. But she was gone. They took the tree away. Hare Krishna. Well, anyway. Those who like to expose themselves, they could become trees. It's possible. You know, Prabhupada does talk about that. And in the largest newspaper in Canada, the Toronto Star, one of our devotees, Anala, she was interviewed, said, if you're very lusty, you'll take birth as a tree. Okay. Now, we didn't get any coaching in those days, how to deal with the media. And I was just a new devotee. I don't know if that was the right thing to say, you know, that part of our philosophy, you know, I don't think that's really good. Just like, have you ever heard devotees say, we discussed this the other day, um, the reason why prasadam tastes so good is because God's saliva is mixed in it. So you explain that to a new person. Can you repeat that again? Well, the food is so good at the Hare Krishna temple because God's saliva is mixed into all the veggies and everything like that. So, oh, that's very interesting. These people are a little bit weird. Where's the door, by the way? You know, so have to be careful what kind of verbiage we use, what kind of language we use. You know. But we have no doubt that this was the true factors were there, that these two young men and who had their girlfriends with them, they showed no shame or embarrassment in front of Narada Muni. Because in the culture of India, as soon as you see saffron, people go, and they try to grab your feet and all kinds of stuff, you know. And I remember when it was in South India. Uh, I was by the beach, and anyways, I walked. I walked after being at the beach having a swim, and there were some Western folks. I don't know. It must have been near Mumbai or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But there's some Western folks at the cafe, and one of the people was saying, "Are you really a sadhu?" Yeah. And I said, "Well, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be." Well, that's one thing to take note of. Trying. You know, Prabhupada defined a Vaishnava as someone who's trying. There's many ways to define what is a devotee, but one who tries, that is a devotee. Yeah. And so we can keep that in mind. That's a good word to use. I'm trying. And sincerely, people who stick to the sadhana and the process, they are trying. They are making an endeavor. And so when you try, that shows sincerity, right? But if you don't try, if you're not exploratory, and it's funny, when it comes to any new sense gratificatory object or gadget that comes along, oh, I've got to buy that, you know. They're advertising it on the big screen. So it's got to be good. I've got to get it. I've got to buy that, you know. So that's the way it is when it comes to gadgets. And you know, people are always looking for something new. Prabhupada had said that that's kind of like our disease, especially for Western folks. This is your problem, you Americans. You know, you say, by the way, I'm not American. Okay, so, yeah. And I'm a North American, but not an American. Okay. So he said, you're always looking for something new. And in the matter of chanting, you know, doing kirtan, we're always looking for something new. Like Prabhupada gave us the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. And the devotees, when they first went to India in 73, 74, they were checking out what's going on in the Gaudiya Math temples. And they were hearing things that they were doing at the Gaudiya Math temple. And then they would insert some new things into the Maha Mantra, like Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Prabhupada never did that. You know that? And so the devotees thinking, that's cool. I'm going to introduce it. So then it stuck. And then Jaya Jaya this, Jaya that, Jaya something, but it's nothing. Okay. So all this thing, Prabhupada didn't Jaya anybody. You look at the recordings. We should, just give Indra a break and Johnny Harrison a break and listen to Prabhupada once in a while and see what he did, what he chanted. He never ended a kirtan, Haribol or Jai Jagannath, or he just ended the note of Hare Krishna. Did you know that? Well, now I'm telling you. I'm here. I came all the way from Canada to let you know. Okay. And then, what else? Jai Gurudev, Gurudev. He didn't want us to do that. He said it's very impersonal. So then, do you chant the name of your guru? No. We limit our mantras to the deities. And you can get away with chanting Prabhupada's name. He's a Sanstapaka Acharya, the founder Acharya of our movement. But, he would tell devotees, tell them to stop the kirtan because they were doing things that were not, authorized, or as they might say in the deep south, it ain't bona fide, Prabhu. It ain't bona fide. So, we need to learn what were the standards, right? But the reason why we have to do something new, that's our disease. Yeah, Prabhupada also observed that a building which was quite strong, a municipal building or something like that, in the dead center of town. If they knock it down, it's only 30 years old, 40 years old. They knock it down. He would just say, "You crazy Americans." So, like in Europe, people do a better job at redefining it. So they'll try to keep an old building and renovate it inside, and they do a better job than say like in some of the other Western countries. So that our big disease is that we always want something new and our sense gratification. Another thing that Prabhupada said, the problem with my disciples is they have no fear for Maya. Does that make sense? They don't fear Maya, and therefore they dive into it like moths into the fire. Prabhupada made these wonderful noises of animals. Like he said, and the moths, they are attracted to the flames, and they go there, and then they go pa, 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 meaning their body pops. And it's dying for snaps like popcorn, all that kind of stuff. He had these wonderful phrases. So if you're attracted to the sense of vishaya, objects of sense gratification, you're setting yourself up for failure. And failure means not being able to go back to Godhead. Failure means having to come back into this world and redo what you couldn't finish, let's say. But if you come back and try to finish business, that's good. On my second walk across Canada, it was near Mother's Day. Do you have Mother's Day here? You do. Some people were saying yes. Some people were saying no. What's the truth? Mother's Day. Okay, so it was Mother's Day, and I was walking near Nova Scotia, near where you live, Nova Scotia, at the Kansas Causeway, and a middle-aged couple, they came out of there. They pulled over and with their van, their truck, actually, their pickup truck. And then they pulled over and they to see me, to talk to me. The lady goes, heard what you're doing. I think it's just wonderful. And she was the one that was talking the most. So, anyways, she said, which Mother's Day just passed. And I was thinking about my mother. And my mother just passed away. And I believe that my mother's going to come back here to this world to finish some business she didn't finish up. I think she's going to complete her mission. That's what I believe. Do you believe in that, Swami? And I said, you're darn tootin'. Yes, we are. We believe in this, that if business is not completed, you come back for another chance, a second chance, a third chance, fourth chance, whatever. It's a beautiful policy that Krishna has. In some traditions, you do or you die. You've heard about it before. If you do not surrender to blah, 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 you will go to where it's hot. You go to the flames of hell. Have you ever heard that before? But what if you're innocent and you're just trying? You're going to the flames of hell, right? And that some people have that they believe that firmly, Or you go to heaven, I remember one minister saying, Elvis went to heaven. How do you know? How do you know that he went to heaven? By the clouds and the angels, How can you possibly know what was in his heart? He was womanizing and he left his wife. I mean, just a sad story, really, And then he overdosed, like all the famous people. The famous people and those with the good looks all do the same thing. They overdose oftentimes, and then they die. They're found on their toilet seat, or they're in their elevator, something like that, just gone, just like that, gone, just overdose. Couldn't handle the world, so they went big on the pills. So-called famous people, Marilyn Monroe, and who else? Prince, and Michael Jackson, uh, Cass Elliot. Who else? Jim Morrison, and Jimi Hendrix. They all overdosed. The same thing. When I was walking across America, I came to this one town. It's called Gary, Indiana, and the place was so run down. I was shocked. This is America, so run down, and there were a lot of people on the streets, and so I met Jim at the barber shop. He was just sitting there, and I said, "Hello." He says, "How are you?" My name is Bhaktivedanta Swami. I'm doing a walk across the U.S. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then I said, I have a question for you. Yeah, tell me. Why is that people downtown here, they're all walking? There's hardly any cars. I said, well, when you're on an overdose, you ain't going to get into a car and start driving around. So that was the problem. A high percentage of the people there were intoxicated to the point where they can't drive, they can't walk. You've all met people like that, because yesterday we talked about intoxication. When people just booze it up, you lose it up, or you don't even know how to talk, and you can't even see straight. You can't even walk. Is that true? The basic things you can't do because you're so deranged, And so you can't be real. You get just like in the plays that Kali says to greed, personified, he says, be true to yourself, greed. And it says, I was thinking about doing just that. So he takes a cigarette. It's his last puff, puts it on the ground, stamps his feet on it, And that's it. He's gone. But he wants to be real. He wants to be true to himself, which being the spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi. I'm spirit, I'm not this body. Achyutananda tells a story. He was in India, and a man got hit by a train, or maybe threw himself in front of the train. And he was just on his last legs. And so people were saying, is there anything you want? Is there anything we can get you before you go? And he said, I want bidhi. I want cigarette. Really? Is that what you want, a cigarette? Is that really the object that means so much to you? And so it's very possible that he could be taking birth as a tobacco plant. It's possible. It's very possible. Why not? Tobacco leaves, like plants, they have a soul in them. I used to work in the tobacco fields. It was hard work. It's hard work. And it's the hottest time of the year in Canada. And they have all this leaky substance, so it's getting on your clothes. It's such a nightmare. The only reason why you advance and you move down the saw and you chop down is because you're going in a row. You couldn't do it on your own. It's really hard work. Yeah. So people, they're addicted to the smoking, right? We have many addictions. This is an addiction. And I have a friend in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in Canada. He was my support person. He was staying in a house in the country. And he was a hoarder. You know what that is? Well, just somebody hoards everything. They buy all things they don't need. So I had to go through his house, through the front door. And there's a pile of stuff here, pile there. And I had to go sideways. I'm not joking. This is the truth. So, and then people, they rent a storage unit. They have a big house and they fill it with stuff. And then your house is not big enough with stuff. So you have to rent a storage unit to put more stuff in there. And then you get a second unit because you're just accumulating like crazy stuff, all kinds of stuff. So that's a little bit of a problem. There's many different kinds of addictions. And there's more, and we just discussed it yesterday with our young folks. What else? Any other addictions? Any ones that we didn't address yet from yesterday? Well, there are a lot of professional agitators out there. Yeah, gossiping is another, one. Well, lots of addictions are just out of control. And they keep us away from Krishna. If you want to have an addiction, then be mindful of Krishna. Mindfulness, that's where to go. Be mindful of Krishna's presence everywhere. That's an addiction. Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an addict, and devotees in general, they are kind of addicts, There's two kinds of devotees. There's the fanatics, and then there's the fun addicts. And the ones who are the fun addicts are the ones that enjoy devotional service. They execute it with great pleasure, and they want to pass the good word on. So that's Krishna consciousness can be addictive. It's so attractive. It's so appealing. It attracts even Krishna. Check it out in the Nectar of Devotion. It's right there in the first pages. Krishna is attracted by devotion. You capture his heart through devotion. So Krishna is an addict that way as well. He loves his devotees. He always wants to be with them. And in this way, he's an addict. And he's addicted to Radharani and vice versa as well. It just goes on. And people were looking at his addiction, his bhava ecstasies. Even the Muslims were looking at it. And seeing him swoon and just be totally in love with the Lord. And one person who's Hussein Shah, he was responsible for killing a lot of holy men. When he met Mahaprabhu, he thought, here is an empowered person. And he told his orderlies, you don't lay a hand on him, or if you do, don't touch him. Yeah. So even the Hindus and the Muslims and the Buddhists were looking at Mahaprabhu while he was, was caught in his ecstasy in his bhava. Just imagine that. Yeah, you get an idea of that imagery. It's really something. You know? Someone's so in love with something, it's like a love sickness, and you can't think of anything else. So Krishna is it, and Krishna is where it's at. Be mindful of him. Always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. You've heard that saying before. 2 injunctions. Number 1, always remember Krishna. Number 2, never forget Krishna. They're policies and they don't collide with each other. In fact, they're very, very, let's say, what's the word? Compatible with each other. Yep, good. So anyways, yesterday we talked about bad habits. Stay away from them. It's very expensive. And we also discussed some of the other adverse effects of drinking. People stink who drink. When you drink, you stink. That's horrible, you know. You just want to get out of the room. Oh, let me get out of here as the first opportunity. Same thing with cigarettes. You stink. And so these are bad directions to take. And when we're young, we might experiment a little bit. Even Prabhupada, when he was in college, he tried this and that, but he never took it seriously. That was horrible. Like we said, yeah, horrible. It wasn't horrible, it was horrible. Yeah. And so that's, when Shyamasundar and Malati were telling their story, they were with Prabhupada for some weeks and said, Prabhupada, we're going to have to leave you for a bit. I said, what? Why? Said, we did something bad in the past. We have to go to jail. And Prabhupada said, oh, jail, yes. Krishna was born in jail. This is very good. So we are in a jail. We're in our prison. This is a cell. That's our prison. And yeah, so we may end up in such places locked up somewhere. But in the end, it doesn't matter if you're thinking of Krishna. I have a god brother who had difficulty with his wife, and they were not getting along, and she got him in jail, and he claims to not have been guilty of what he was charged with. But he said jail was hell for him. But it did help him. It helped him. Let me go back to Krishna. I left him behind. Let me go back to him. Let me get out of this prison. The body is a prison also, isn't it? Oh yeah, it's a trap. And you identify with it so strongly. So it's really a matter of taking the humble approach and eating humble pie. You have that saying in South Africa, eating humble pie. You have that saying in India, eating humble pie. I looked up the origin of that. Well, there is a kind of pie, and you can put lots of things in it. But the origin behind eating humble pie is it's a saying. It's not humble pie. It's lumble pie, something like that. And that's the deer intestines. Now you're going to say, "Oh, that's horrible." And we're just going to have prasadam. So it's actually a form of punishment. It's a form of punishment, eating humble pie. So real humility comes from the heart, and it means I have fault. I have made mistakes. I feel guilty about it, and I want to get myself purged. I want to get myself clean. So that's what people are genuine, real with themselves. They'll make the effort to improve. They'll make the effort to not commit offenses. And, smart people will stay away from sense gratification, which comes in many shapes and forms. You have to think about your future. And when sense gratification distracts you, which it does, and it will, then your future is not very bright. So let us endeavor hard in this direction and put up a good fight against Maya. And remember, you're not that body, you're spirit soul. Yes. So I think we'll end it right there. Anybody have any questions or comments? Yes. Do you want the mic? Okay. You're a big offender, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have a question. You were saying that Prabhupada had set some standards and now we are trying to change them kind of thing,
With
or
the
adding
kirtan.
in the kirtan or something.
Yeah.
So can it also be termed as sense gratification in bhakti?
Sense gratification.
In bhakti?
Well, our gratification is for Krishna. He's the Rishikesh. He's master of the senses. So we try to do things that please him. We know that he likes dairy products. So you fill him up. We know certain things. We understand he didn't like broccoli. So the devotees didn't serve broccoli for him. He was not raised on that, so he couldn't relate to it. Yeah. But if there's going to be some sense gratification, let Krishna be gratified, and that's our objective. And after all, people like you and I, we've had enough sense gratification. We've had our quota, isn't it? We don't need any more. We're finished, done, kaput. Put it behind you. Yeah, we don't need it. That answer the question? Thank you. Anybody else with any question on our topic? We're not going to let you go until you come up with it. No kitchery for you.
Hare
Hare.